So I did a stream recently where I picked out 4 games from my backlog that had very interesting, glitchy or unusual art styles. And this game did not disappoint. It's called Hyper Kid Morph to Mr. Gunner, whatever the hell that means. And it's a boss rush game with a fixed camera and very, very strange movement and attack mechanics that felt really easy to learn despite being so strange. I had a lot of fun with this. It's on itch. You can check it out now, and I think you should if this appeals to you. Like, have a look at some of the highlights. This game has a really strange set of controls, right? It controls like a normal first-person shooter, but the camera is fixed on the boss. So your sideways movement is like in a circle, and you can also lasso, which kind of gives you more momentum and sort of spins you faster or makes you jump forward or back faster. The thing I'm finding surprising is that even though this is quite a weird set of movement mechanics, you learn it really, really quickly. I feel like I've picked this up very, very quickly. that face on the death screen as well. too much spin. And those pain balls that I have to shoot sort of just stop me from training the gun in the middle all the time, I guess. There's a lot of thought gone into the way that these bosses are designed. I'm getting killed a lot by physically going into the boss. Dying by jumping into the boss feels really unsatisfying because it doesn't feel like something the boss has done to me. The sides of the balls that are coloured are vulnerable, and the side that is silver is shielded, basically. Really neat, really cool set of like dynamics of the mechanics all working together. Really, really cool. Oh, like I'm no good at this, but trying to get good at it feels good. Like if you've got an action game that is just a kind of masochistic failure over and over again game, then the game really needs enough levers to pull to really make that feel like a learning experience rather than just getting told you suck over and over again. And this does feel like that, and that's a really difficult thing to nail. Like I've not really played boss rush games. It feels like an insight into how to make those well, right? Because even the fact that I'm having to sort of treat it like a puzzle means that we've got some interesting boss design here. And the thing is, when you're further back and you've got the machine gun instead of the shotgun, if you spin fast and get behind the armor, you then have a longer period that you can shoot them for as well. So there's a really cool set of dynamics when you throw this all together. But yeah, maybe I'm going to try and just do the whole thing from range. Maybe that's the whole point. Maybe there isn't a thing that you can consistently do through the whole boss, and that's because it's a boss rush game and you need to approach the different modes differently. Oh, I keep forgetting I can double jump, but that makes this considerably easier. I mean, it doesn't if I jump straight into the thing, but I love that the hitting them regens your stamina, so you can get into a really good flow when you're actually behind hitting the weak point. Oh, let's have peace. No, my attention span is like this long, so anything where you have to really pay attention, I die in a lot. That's fantastic though, because like this boss is like the difference between like a Dark Souls and an Elden Ring boss, right? There's very little randomness there. Everything's rhythmic. Like the shock waves happen at very predictable times. The whole boss is so predictable. But once you're combining that with this kind of slightly goofy movement style and moving in and out, like the moving in and out mechanic and the gun changing when you move in and out is such a very like clear risk reward thing for you to play around with. And there are moments where you really do need to rest so you can kind of like build up your ability to react and then go back in and try and do damage and then rest, and it's really neat. Dancer Joey says, "Fine. I see you're legit. Come over to my friend's house. Fun awaits." Let's see what the friend's house is like. Smoking mids in Weed's Pizza Shed. Weed Peter. Someone in the chat said a moment ago, how do I stumble across these? Well, these were ones that were sent to me, and then I just try and group them together by what I think is appealing about them. And today is the kind of trippy, weird art style games. I don't know what mids are, but we're going to Weed Peter's Shed to smoke them. This is 90s stoner culture writ large. One of the things that Sony did, they did this a lot in the UK. I don't know if it was a global thing, but Sony had a very deliberate move to try and make the PlayStation feel like a more grown-up console. The marketing of the PlayStation, particularly the PlayStation 1, was very much based around dance music, counterculture. Like, how can we associate our game system with going to the club and taking drugs and stuff like that? And that's where you get kind of Wipeout from. Like, Wipeout looks like old hat now, but when it came out, to have a game that had, like, Chemical Brothers and Prodigy on the soundtrack, and it was like, hey, this is a game for grown-ups. This is a game for cool people that go outside and go to Weed Peter's Shed. So this kind of aligning of like 90s drug culture with that visual style makes perfect sense to a boomer like me. If you want a puff, you have to take it from... This is him. This is Weed Peter. This is an actual illustration. Oh, Weed Peter! We meet again. He's a Easter Island head. So he's got shockwaves. What else is going on with Weed Peter? I shoot the weed out of your mouth, Weed Peter. This is the mechanic. The weed moves when you shoot it and it goes around. And then he tries to get you. Okay, so we've got the shockwave, but it's implemented a bit differently. It sort of does an annoying hang in the air that you can't quite predict. And then you have to shoot his weed off of him, and it keeps moving away from you. And he has a laser eye. Yeah, big fan of Weed Peter. One of the things you'll notice is that compared to the last boss, this one really means I have to decide which way to swing, whereas in the last boss I could just keep swinging in the same direction and it didn't matter. But because his blunt is very elusive... You're a blunt hog. And sometimes he does a ground pound where he is. If he does the laser, then he's coming towards you, and then you have to... I don't know what you... Maybe swinging forward when he comes towards you might be the best. I'm going to have to move on in a minute because we only have like 30 minutes per game, but this is great. If you're a developer and you're watching, and you're seeing this and you're thinking, I want to get my game on that channel, remember, I only cover games that are not finished. If you've done a commercial release of a game and it's up on Steam for like $10 or whatever, I'm not interested. This game is already perfect. Because it has Weed Peter and his elusive blunt. We didn't crack Weed Peter. I really like the mix of like registers here as well, where all of this art and this everything in this game is so like 90s cyberspace, high psychedelia, but then the characters are just like characters you'd know as a teenager, right? Dancer Joey, you meet Dancer Joey at school, he throws down, you have a battle, then you go to Weed Peter's shed, and and he's like, hey, you want my weed? Well, my blunt is elusive. So it's a really funny mix of registers between like a visual style and a gameplay that is totally not of this world. You know, it's like Katamari Damacy, Boss Rush, Weedhead nonsense. But all of the way that the characters speak and stuff is like they're just normal people. It's really cool. I like this. Big fan of this.
Thank you to the patrons. You have enabled this thing to exist. Thank you to the patrons. Do I put your name on this list? Thank you to the patrons. Your donations show that you can. Thank you to the patrons. We got to walk into robots, may you be spared.